Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is our program on point. I'm Anthony Sieh. Johnny on point today. Guess who is also here? This guy. Look at this guy right here. He's here. He's ready. And we are all putting on our analytical cap. Comfortably seated also is George Khan and Tulay, who is now the co-host of this program on point. And also this gentleman right here. They call him unabashed sedition, showing his propos cup that does not put bread on anybody's table. Get that cup away. We are here to handle business. I don't want to see your cup. Dennis, the guys are here. I am here and you are here. And let's get started. How do we start this one?
This is an extraordinary edition of On Point. This is the first time in the history of this show that the moderator and the co-moderator of On Point have been joined by Focus on Liberia CEO. You guys don't call me CEO on this show. Why is that?
We'll call you CEO.
And also the host of Hour of Politics, Mr. Anthony Sieh and Dennis Jai, appearing together on Point. This is an extraordinary edition of the show. We're glad to have both of you discussing politics, because this is a very important issue. In Liberia, we are not used to primary, right? We have these Babati primary, so it's exciting. In the history of the country, we had the first ever transfer of power from one president to the other that happened 2017, or the election of 2017. Now, that president has ruled for is in his first term, and there's going to come a second term. So we are all excited. We are looking for an exciting primary in the CPP and other political parties. And so we are glad to be here. Joining us, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. We want to welcome all our viewers around the globe. This is Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you.
All right. And this is what we're going to do, Mr. Sieh. For the CPP primary, we have two forerunners. There could be other outliers, but we have Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings and Joseph Newman Boakai. Which of these two is going to win the primary? And in order to win the primary, these are some of the things that your favorability. Do the voters in the primary favor you? Are you electable? Do you have the numbers? Do you have not just the numbers, but do you have the money and other resources? First, let's take a step back. What really is the best route for the CPP? Is it your primary? Is it consensus? Or the VPS? And above all, who has the best chance to defeat President Weah in 2023? I think that's what all CPP people are looking for. And is President Weah beatable in the first place? I know the unabashed, unapologetic sedition will say no, but we're going to hear it right here on Focus on Liberia. Back to you, Mr. Sieh.
Dennis, thank you. And at this time, let me welcome these guys one by one. Here is Mr. Jerome Gayman. We refer to him as unabashed. Are you ready, and will you be on point? Your opening statement in this discussion.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to On Point. The program obviously is going to be divided into segments. You're going to have a chance to call in with your views, and also you are also allowed to have comments. Well, thank you very much, sir, but I don't want to gloat, because I was taught as a child to be humble, even in the face of adversity or in the face of victory. I want to point you, I'm from Grand Bassa County, and I wanted to just, in your mind, to describe and paint the picture of Dr. George Bekube.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Entering the county of Grand Bassa County as though Jesus Christ was entering Jerusalem. And you saw people in trees like Zacchaeus when Jesus was going by, Zacchaeus was so short and the crowd was so big. So he climbed onto the tree to see the Messiah. Today, this week in Grand Bassa County, you saw Dr. Weir entering into Bassa, and people were on top of houses in the tree trying to see the Messiah. And you saw what he did. I don't want to gloat, but President George Weah is unbeatable.
All right. Thank you. Let me bring in Mr. George Tulay. Mr. Tulay, welcome to another edition of Our Point. We are always glad to have you here joining this family to discuss the issues that matter. Your opening statement, sir.
Yeah, it's nice being here again after 2 weeks hiatus. I've been off because my family is mourning the loss of our beautiful daughter, niece. But anyway, I'm here today because at the end of the day, we still have to discuss these things. We still have to look at Liberia because we all want the best for our country. George Weah is very beatable, if you ask me. George Weah's stronghold has been Montserrado County from 2005, 2011, and 2017. He won Montserrado County comfortably in terms of the elections. But the fact that Senator Darius Dillon had come on the scene and had beaten CDC in one election and won CDC in another election, and even the other by-elections that happened in the Logantown area. I think what district is that again? I forgot. And then the district, I think District 9, Sinkhole. The fact that they had to go and do recounts and do all kinds of mango to be able to pronounce CDC candidates winner in those elections shows that CDC have lost the people, their base, all right, their place of favorability. And in terms of their, electability in Liberia right now there's a big gap. They lost even in Nimba. It had to go into clamor. You see, it's like CDC was only able to retain some of those seats because they are in government. If we have fair and just counting of those votes in those places, with the exception of maybe Nimba, CDC lost all those seats, including the Logantown, the Sinkhole belt election that was lost. I mean, that was held. So CDC is very beatable, and George Weah is very unpopular. Why is he unpopular? Because he has failed. He has failed to deliver to the Liberian people the things that we expect, even though he did not promise them.
Thank you so very much. That was the opening statement of Mr. George Tulay, co-host of our program On Point. He and Mr. Gayman are always here to go ahead debating the issues that matter. We are focusing this edition of On Point on Mr. Alexander Belande Cummings on what clearly seems as a contest between the two of them as to who has the CDC, I mean not the CDC, the CPP ticket for 2023. Welcome to the show. But before we get started here, Focus on Liberia have been conducting a poll. Here is the result we got so far before we go into the discussion. We asked the question here at Focus on Liberia. Who should have the CPP ticket? Our latest poll that was just pulled before we could come live shows 672 persons responded. So of the 672 responses that we got, Ambassador Joseph Yimam Boakai is at 40%, whereas Alexander Benedict Cummings is at 50.7%, and Abraham Darius Dillon, quote unquote, the light, some call him Chinese light, is at 9.2%. We just wanted you to know. If we will, encourage you to participate in this pool, we will pin the link in the live field here so that some of you can have the opportunity to participate. It is important that all of you participate so we will know what Liberians are thinking about these two candidates. Then let's get started, and I believe our first issue is on electability. And on electability, let's bring in George Tulay, if you don't mind, Dennis.
Sure.
Well, all right, guys. When it comes to electability, they both are electable. Mm-hmm. But I would say this from the get-go.
Mhm.
My dream for the CPP ticket will be Joseph Boakai as the standard bearer and Alexander Cummings as the vice standard bearer. And that is a winning formula. One. Secondly, that formula also harnesses all the capabilities and all the strengths of the CPP. In the sense that nobody, there won't be no disenfranchisement of the supporters of the CPP. Everyone will feel that they have a ticket they can commit to. Why am I putting Joseph Yima Boakai before Cummings? If you ask me, like I said, they are both electable in my sense. I don't see any use in putting one against the other in the sense that we have one collaboration of political parties, opposition political parties, and the only way we can unseat the CDC except we come together under one umbrella and begin to see and work together with a cohesive middle and not a splinter group with saboteurs and double agents sowing seeds of discord and planting animus amongst the collaborators. So if you ask me right now who is more favorable, I would, based on the numbers in the 2017 election, I would say Joseph Boakai will have more people because he represents a bigger or more established political party than the ANC. And but the thing is, Liberia needs to benefit from the two men. They have more to contribute. Joseph Boakai is an elder statesman. He's a disciplinarian. He has strong values and principles. Alexander Cummings know how things work also from the business perspective. Two of them can come in while Joseph Boakai is working on strengthening systems and structures and managing deliverables. Cummings could be working on our investment portfolio, investment in agriculture, investment in value addition industries, and helping the country to develop an economic profile that is fit for the modern time. So it's a win-win if you ask me. Two of them were on one ticket.
Mr. Gayman, electability. We know your answer, but you have to speak. And gentlemen, for the sake of a discussion, because my partner Dennis and I we have a lot of questions for you. Please do an analysis to the best of your ability. Mr. Gayman, electability. Is your guy, President Weah, electable? If so, why?
Well, obviously, that wouldn't be a question for me because he's elected already. So that is a non sequitur to call that. But what I can tell you is, first of all, let me go to Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai is weak. He's feeble. On paper, his age is 79. I think by the time this thing is all over, he will be maybe 81 or 82. Some people are telling me that he's going to do a door. He's going to pull a door on us and say, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know when I was born, but I'm actually 67 because somebody in the interior did not calculate my age, and he will reduce his age so he can fit within that. So we know that Joseph Boakai is not electable. Why isn't he electable? First of all, his first decision made outside of the organization under the leadership of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, he blew it. He, instead of doing a complete analysis of the Liberian political scope and picking somebody that would complement him, he picked Mr. Nukwe. And you know what happened to that ticket. Now, to those of us who are into analyzing political debates and political decision making, we can tell that now he's grabbing for straw. His actual first major decision wound up and costing him a seat that will throw him back 6 years. So Dr. Joseph Boakai, as we all know, we know that he's a bad decision maker. He, on one of his interviews later, I heard he said that he has lived his life after being in government for half a century. He said he lived his life on loan. He lives his life on loan. This is something that is unorthodox for somebody who has been in politics for 50 years to say that he is living up to now living on loan. And then in the same breath, he turns around and say he is the best candidate to bring George Weah down. To me, he is weak. Now let's go to the other candidate number 2. First of all, Mr. Cummings said that he cannot be second to anybody. So we can tell that he's from the old order. It's either he or nobody else. Second, he has a major conflict, social and moral conflict within himself when he said, the gay issue is something that I'm having problem with. It's a lifestyle that he's struggling with. As Liberians, we are Christian, we are religious people, we are moral people, we are honest folks. We do not have a leadership within our group that admits that he is struggling with homosexuality. My friend, these two people are bad apples in this bucket, and the people are going to find them out soon.
And Mr. Gayman, I want you to let's talk facts here, and don't bring about the gay or homosexual issue, because that is open to. But let's concentrate our argument on or the discussion on the electability factor. Are you saying CPP have to put forward a ticket? Okay, some are saying that what you are saying right now, you're saying 2 of them are just bad, so they have to put forward a ticket. So let's discuss the 2 of them, and you think which of them you think is more electable over the other. Forget about beating President Weah yet. Let's deal with the CPP. What's your take?
Oh, okay. Oh, you asking Jerome already?
No, Jerome first, because I want him to give analysis here.
Okay, I just gave you analysis why they cannot be elected, why they are not elected.
Within the CPP.
Or within the CPP. Okay, Joseph Boakai, to me, will not be elected for the age factor. And that is just factual. By the time the election comes around 2023, Joseph Boakai will be 79 years old. He will be even older than Joe Biden. So based on that, I don't think Liberia wants to go back to 1930. So based on that, I think Mr. Cummings has an edge over him on that, because he can make the case that this job requires vibrancy. As you could see, President Weah running all over the place, breaking grounds and doing that. Somebody has to do that. And Mr. Cummings has shown that based on his trip to the Southeast and all of that. He's more vibrant and more nimble than the vice president. So among those 2 in the CPP, I think Cummings stands a better chance.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. We want to say that each of you, every time you have a time to talk, is 2 minutes. Please observe the time. And when I say thank you, I mean your minutes are over, and let's hear the next person talking. Mr. Sieh.
Dennis, thank you. And let's come to you, Mr. Tulay. I know you said that Joseph Boakai of the 2, meaning Cummings and Joseph Boakai, Mr. Boakai is the one you're giving the edge, you're looking at past election. But something you said I want to talk about, bring you to. You said Boakai is an edited statement, discipline, and you talk about he can be managing deliverables. So on that question of deliverables, tell me what deliverables have Joseph Boakai managed before?
Hey, it doesn't matter what he has managed before on a personal level. He was vice president. And we all know in the vice president, except you have a memorandum of understanding before going into government, the vice president is basically a ceremonial position. You work at the behest of your boss, all right? And he can undermine you, or he or she can undermine you at will, and nothing you can do about it, because the Constitution possesses all power in the president. All right.
Okay. So then where does he get these skills from? You know, that gives him the ability to hold on, Tulay. That gives him the ability to manage deliverables, if not from the vice president, because you are saying that more like he was silent. I can agree. He told us he was a race car park, but before then he served in government. What are the skills he gained that can manage the deliverables, and what can you point to as some of the deliverables he managed before?
Oh, when Liberia was he was at LPMC, right? He ran LPMC, and apart from that, he was a district manager of LPMC before running LPMC, and then going on to the Ministry agriculture. When Liberia had bilateral arrangements with USAID and the World Bank, Joseph Boakai ran the point in these arrangements, running the Ministry of Agriculture at that time. And that was when Liberia was exporting all the kind of cash crops that are native to our country. And that was the time that we were feeding ourselves. We're milling rice and selling local rice on the market. All right, you could go a whole year eating only country rice without eating any imported rice during those days. So I saw firsthand. This is not somebody telling me. All right, I saw firsthand Joseph Boakai's work. All right, at the Ministry of Agriculture and at LPMC. I saw the farmers bringing truckloads of coffee and cocoa to be processed at LPMC in outside of Vonjama. So I've seen what his experience in terms of managing. Like I said, he was Minister of Agriculture under the Samuel Doe government for years, and he ran the ministry before he was given an ambassadorship. So I've seen him work. I know he has the ability. And then being vice president, even though he did not have executive powers in terms of how to implement, but he had experience. He was still someone who the president relied on to put out fires. He was still someone the president relied on to meet with investors who came to invest, like the Semi-Darby people, like the Golden Vermeulen people. They met with Joseph Boakai, they dealt with Joseph Boakai. So we've seen, I know Joseph Boakai has the experience. In terms of experience, he has it.
Thank you. Dennis?
Yeah, and what I see here, so let's get something straightened up first, because I know the unabashed, unapologetic tradition wants is not even interested in the CPP. He just wants to defend President Weah. So let's do it. But let me start here. Mr. Tulay, you alluded to the fact that you really, both of them, both Cummings and Boakai, can defeat President Weah. But we have to go through the primary. So what I want to ask you is, primary, they talk about the VPS, they talk about consensus. Are you trying to avoid a primary in the CPP? Is that what you're looking at?
Who, me? Is the question to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
If you ask me, I will avoid it, because it tends to no good at the end of the day. If you ask me, if my view was asked in this area, I would tell the people, look. But you see, we're talking about egos, all right? One of the greatest strengths a man can exhibit is the ability to accept his position and look at himself, to assess his chances before taking a step. It's even in the Bible that you should consider it before you take a step, lest you be found wanting. So my point here is, I know Mr. Cummings believes in himself, but the Liberian people, are they going to vote for ANC? Are they going to give Cummings? I don't want the situation where George Weah becomes president again. If you ask me, in all honesty, I don't think Cummings will beat Weah. I don't think the Liberian people will vote for Cummings against Weah, because there are a couple of things here. One, they are both from the same southeast. Okay, they are from neighboring counties. That alone could work against Cummings, because he's offering no change in terms of geographical leadership. So that alone could work against him. But he can go as vice president, and it won't be any problem. I know the psyche of my people. Right. They won't. It will be very difficult for them to accept to vote for Cummings as opposed to Weah. So if Cummings became the standard bearer, we may just be giving Weah a second term.
So to conclude on that, the CPP framework calls for primary, first consensus, primary, or VPS.
Yeah.
To you, which is the best route? And will you not be because we are eager and hungry for primary, we never had one. Now it's like you are afraid of primary because it's going to disintegrate, it's going to kind of split the CPP.
It's going to bring about the Liberianness of politics. And it's going to cause, right now, I'm part of Facebook, WhatsApp groups, and I'm seeing the exchange. I'm seeing the animus. I'm seeing the ambivalence that has been established between people because one group believe in this person, another group believe in another person. I'm just telling you, if I see it among people who are in the opposition, what face are we going to present to the country as a whole? And also, like I said, I believe in consensus even more than the primary. Okay, I believe that even if we go to the primary, it will just be pro forma. That's what I believe. I believe it will be pro forma.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me come to Mr. Gayman, Dennis. Mr. Gayman, the issue we want you to analyze and give us, your best analytical viewpoint here is the issue of primary consensus and VPS. Which of these options you think is best for the CPP? Start talking on your man or Georgie here. Which of these options would be best for the CPP and why?
Well, first of all, let's put this primary thing into context.
Thank you.
We are a Republican representative democracy.
Thank you.
That calls for a primary. It does not say, I have never seen a national government or anywhere in the world where they have something called VPS. We are into democracy, and I think if CPP wants to actually challenge the democratic tenets of CDC, they should go to the primary and do what everybody else does and let the best man win. But you hear my brother Tulay is saying he is afraid of the primary because in the primary it's like biscuit. When you share it with somebody, you think it will break in the middle. Sometimes when the crumbs leaves on your fingernails. But that's what democracy calls for, the uncertainty of democracy. So there is no such thing in democracy called VPS. There is no such thing in democracy called consensus. Let the people decide who they want. Do not, please, squash the will of the people.
Mr.
Gayman, this is a follow-up. Are you saying the idea of VPS, which is the voter perception survey, they say it is this, tool that gives their voters the understanding of how the candidates are viewed on the outside to inform their decision. The idea of a consensus is where 2 or 3 persons say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Are you saying these are anti-democratic means of deciding a candidate?
Well, not just me, but my brother here, my well-learned brother, if you can tell me which country or which democracy in the world that uses VPS, then I will concur with him. But what we are saying here is that you can see that the CPP comes from the old order. And I'm going to give you an example of what the VPS, the original VPS was done in Grand Bassa County in the 60s that we know about. When the gentleman in Orange Grove called Nature Artist was a gentleman that was running for a position in Orange Grove in now Magidi County. And within that time, Tubman and his cronies got together and said, well, Artist is one of us. And he sent Jimmy Barrow and sent his butler to Orange Grove to take a survey to feel the people. What are the people saying? And Jimmy Barrow came back and told the president, oh, the people want nature artists, which were not actually the fact. So Tubman went and appointed nature artists to represent the people of Grand Bassa County. So the VPS thing you're talking about, those of us who are in the know, who understand the Liberia political geopolitics, it is not something new, it's from the old order. That's the true Party way of silencing those for the bottom who they feel do not have the equitable power to decide who they want. So they want to sit around in one room and say, this is it. How do we challenge a VPS? How can my mother that is in Grand Bassa County District number 4, how can she challenge VPS? It is a non-starter, it is a farce, it is non-democratic, and it's not going to hold because somebody's going to take it to court and they're going to lose.
Thank you, Mr. Let me follow up that, Mr. Gayman. All you are saying here is the CDC benefits when there is a crack in the CPP. Don't you see there as just a CDC strategy to make sure that the CPP cannot fight it out so that at the end of the day there is a crack and that benefits the CDC? Isn't that just obvious?
No, listen, this is what democracy is all about. If you crack in the process, that's fine. This is heat. We are going to apply heat. And if it cracks are the same, so be it. But the fact here is that we are in a constitutional democracy where the vote is the more powerful thing that anybody has. You cannot, in a society where we have 80% illiteracy, for you to introduce something that is called voter perception. And you know, when the word perception, it is not reality, it's not factual, it's not numerical. It is what somebody thinks you are thinking. And we don't want anybody to think for us. Those days are over.
Mr. Gayman, quickly, either yes or no answer, please, so we can get to Tulay. Did a primary produce now President Weah this gone election?
Yes.
Are you sure? Who went against him in the primary? Who went against him in the primary?
You say you need a yes or no answer. I just told you yes.
There's a follow-up.
And then I say, who went against him in that primary you're talking about that producing?
Well, everybody went against George Weah from the very beginning.
Everybody went against him?
Yes.
Who did everybody?
Let me tell you that you don't maybe write a whole history of
Mr. Gayman, tell me who did everybody?
The initial contests
for the leadership. I'm talking about the primary before the 2017 election.
That produced George Weah. It was between Mr. Verdier and his brother-in-law Kofi Woods, who they wanted to be the original.
You're talking about a CPP primary in 2017?
Yes. That's correct.
All right, then I got my answer. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
2017, we have had a candidate from 2000. Our original primary was done in 2004. And
2004, and you kept is your candidate a lifetime candidate then?
But listen, the standard bearer of our candidate that was elected, that went to the poll in 2005, that lost to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Can I come in now because he's been on the floor?
Yeah, Mr. Gayman, thank you. Let me finish. You answer my question. You answer my question.
Go ahead. Knock yourself out.
Hold on.
Okay. Let me counter Mr. Gayman over there.
Mr. Tulay.
George Weah had never really been primary. It was all pro forma. All right? It has always been pro forma. The same thing we're talking about the voter perception. In America, you're talking about primaries. The only way a person will continue in the primary, except the voter perception, is in their favor. As long as the polls are held or couple of primaries are held and they find out that voter perception is not in my area, I bow out of the race. The reason why we're saying this is this. In fact, let me backtrack. Mr. Gayman, you have no grounds to talk about primary here because George Weah has never been primaried. There have never been independent candidates to come over and say, I want to contest the CDC ticket because they know the overwhelming voter perception is it favors George Weah. So there's no need for me to waste my time and my resources to come into a primary against a man who I know is already the shoe-in candidate. So let's go forward to our own collaboration of political parties. There is no need to have the rancor that will cause break in the ranks. There is no need to go into if gentlemen can come together. These are men. If they can come together, knowing because look where Mr. Cummings was in 2017, and this is where Joe Boakai was in 2017. It is very, very clear that irrespective of what you could call the frailties or the fragilities of Mr. Boakai, the United Party is leaps and bounds ahead of ANC in national politics, and it matters. Don't forget, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf just left power. The United Party, despite the fact some of them supported the coalition.
Can I throw something at you here?
Yeah, let me just end this. Despite some of them supporting the coalition, the United Party still have the structures in place, and they were banned behind Joe Boakai. That is my point. So when I'm talking about this thing, I'm not talking about my own position of in terms of favorability. I keep telling Mr. Gayman, when I speak, I look at what I see in Liberia.
Yeah.
So,
Mr.
Mr. Tulay, let me
Go
do
ahead.
this. Are you?
Anthony.
Hold on, Mr. Hold on. Let me because I wanted I don't want to leave things hanging with Mr. Gayman because clearly, and let's set the record straight, you were saying the CDC primary was in 2004. Well, in 2011, President Mr. Weah now did not contest as the standard bearer. It was Winston Tubman.
Winston Tubman, yeah.
So how did Weah now become the candidate in 2017? What was the primary?
There was no primary.
Well,
Dennis, don't waste your time, Mr. Gayman did not get his fast straight, and let's move on.
Let him answer. Go ahead.
Listen to this. The election in 2011 was a marriage made in heaven. The Liberian people in heaven. The Liberian people gathered and said, Mr. Weah, we will make you president of the Republic of Liberia. If you went back to school, that's one. Two, if you became you went under the tutelage of somebody who has done this before.
Was that the primary? We're talking about
who the person. Mr. Gayman, you continue to dig yourself.
I'm not digging myself. You're not listening. When we decided to put forth.
No, you said to somebody who have done this before. That was Tubman first time running, and you know it.
No, the first are talking about leadership. They are talking about global leadership management. You guys were here saying Tubman has the international.
No. It's not the point here. It's not the point. Let's go straight to. So Tubman was the standard bearer. 2017. How did we have become the standard bearer? Was there a primary?
The party decided that. First of all, we did not have four political parties into one. It was one political party, so they had a right to a consensus if they wanted to.
Okay.
One political party.
That was a correlation. Coalition went into the election. How could that not have been a primary?
The coalition came after we have selected our man.
No, but the same party had primary. We see that with the Democratic Party. One party can have
primary
to produce the standard bearer. That was not held. So I just wanted to also establish that. Go ahead, Mr. Tulay.
Yeah, the truth here is I was in Liberia for all those elections. From 2005, I was with Liberty Party, and then 2011, I was with Liberty Party, and then I was on the fence, and I saw a lot of people go to CDC. I met with Joseph Boakai just before the second round and everything, and I was right there. So I saw everything. There was no primary in the CDC. Judge Weah has been the shoe-in. When Judge Weah cried in Kakata, is it Kakata or I think Kakata? And when he agreed to allow Winston Tubman to take his place, that
was primary.
Yeah. It wasn't. It was after all consensus. That's why I say it was pro forma. It had already the discussions had already been held, and it came to the public now to make their announcement. It wasn't really a primary,
right?
So my point here is you in our context, Dennis. In our context, we cannot say that if four gentlemen from different collaborating parties come together and say, you know what, who stands based on the voter perception survey? Who stands the greatest chance of unseating George Weah? I think that's what it should be about. All right. I don't think Mr. Boakai, because
Tulay, I have to jump in here, please. Yeah. Tulay, let me jump in here. First of all, let's establish it. Have you guys done this very voter perception survey? And if so, where are the results?
No one had done any voter perception survey.
And so why you have it in your framework in the first place?
Yeah, because it will be done.
When?
It will be done. My point is this, all right? It's in the framework, yes, but at the end of the day, everything will be done because the will of the people will be taken into serious perspective here in terms of informing what decisions are made. My point is, at the end of the day, before anybody can come up to say we're going to a primary, or before the delegates, in the case of a primary, the delegates can decide on a particular candidate or standard bearer. It has to be according to the will of the people. It's the same thing we are saying. Because wait, hold on now, you asked a question. If you vote, but I'm trying to answer your question. We have not done the VPS, but it can be done. It will be done.
So here's my next question, Tulay. Here's my next question. I agree with you that the CPP, I mean the CDC, sorry, the CDC has no history of conducting a primary when we is contesting to be candidate of the CDC. No history other than what we saw with Winston Tubman. Now, the CDC, unlike the CDC, the CPP is a mix of 4 political parties. And the standard bearers or the political leaders of these 4 political parties, pretty much almost all of them have interest. For sure, we know Cummings, we know also Boakai. So let there be a primary. Why are you kicking against a primary and you want consensus?
I'm not kicking against it. If you ask me what my preference is, that doesn't mean I'm kicking against it. I will support a primary.
But you're not encouraging it, right?
Yeah, no. If you ask me my personal view, I would not encourage it. I will encourage a VPS, and I will encourage a consensus based on the VPS, okay, to minimize the scheme, the schisms and the fractures that can come out of such an arrangement. The arrangement is already very dicey. Okay, the arrangement is dicey because everybody feels that my candidate is the best, and my candidate must be the standard bearer.
In this kind of thing, right? You think the consensus will hold?
Mr. Tulay,
if the consensus amongst the leaders, it will hold.
Mr. Tulay, 2 things I hear from you here, right? First of all, you support people coming together, maybe the elite class, deciding on who to become the president. Mind you, what I see as the coronation of Joseph N. Boakai has been done way before VPS, and that's what you see here. 2, you want this will disenfranchise the voters. You are saying voters should not have a say in this. Let the big boys and the big girls in the CPP decide this. And also, you are saying you are scared of the fragility of the party. Well, if you cannot go through the heat in CPP, do you expect to run a country?
Okay, let me answer you quickly here. The thing here, the thing is very, very simple to understand. Even the primary in the Liberian setting is still not the will of the people. We just saw it recently with Liberty Party. Okay, the few delegates that are to converge or convocate are canvassed by use of means. So they are not going to ask the people within the county, I'm going to represent you at the convocation or at the convention. Who do you people want me to vote for? That conversation is never held between the party chairman and the people on the local level. No. As long as he's canvassed, as long as he's taken care of, he goes to represent the interests of those who lobby him the most. That is my point. So let's, I don't talk the normal Liberian political talk because I know how it works. I'm not going to waste my time telling you, say, let's go this route. The people will in primaries in Liberia do not hold. They don't hold. If you got deep pockets and you reach
So Tulay, so you are saying it doesn't hold, so we shouldn't make it to work? Because this is what I want. Hold on, Tulay. This is what I want. I want a primary process where all the candidates in the CPP that do have interest for the candidacy of the CPP to go from county to county and bring to the primary all the members of the parties making the CPP to vote. Let for once give the people the right to choose who they want. Can the CPP do that, or the CPP going to follow the same old order?
Yeah, but let me ask you, how is it going to be held? Who are going to appoint? Listen.
I'm not talking appointing here. I just said to you, Tulay, let them go from county to county, do a timeline or timetable. You get to Grand Crew, for example. The candidates, they made the case. all the members of these 4 political parties get online, they vote who they want to represent them as CPP presidential candidate from county to county. It's not difficult for them. If they can't do it, then they forget about running to be president.
No, you see again, you have a good point, but then look at the logistics. Look at the amount of money.
Are you fearing logistics? Then they're not ready to be president.
No. You see, you can't say that they're not ready because they don't have the pocket. Because you know what you're talking about? You're talking about expending capital that should be actually geared or kept or focused on the national election. To do this, every county you go to, you will have to spend a huge. Nobody's going to come out to vote in anything without you canvassing them.
So they should just keep wrapping the low hanging fruit.
Let's make progress because you guys don't understand this thing.
Let's make progress. We got a point. You are afraid that when the CPP are primary, they're going to break up and it's going to fracture them, and we are going to beat them.
So it's just. I'm not afraid, but I'm saying that could be a possibility.
But that's what I'm saying. You're saying the same thing. So let's go to the next. Is President we are beatable in 2023? Mr. Gayman, you go first, and why?
Okay. First of all, thank you. That's a great question. We cannot be beat in 2023
by anybody.
By anybody.
Okay.
And not by Joseph Boakai, not by Cummings, and not by the combination of the two either. Let's look at the prevailing factors now on the ground. The county tour, and look at some of the things that are transparent in the county tour. Let's go to Bapolu per se. I think my brother has an idea where Bapolu is. You saw a $30 million health center. That is a conglomeration of hospital and several other research centers around there that will be in the midst of the folks. You saw what it did for the confidence of the folks and what economic boom that is forthcoming, or extending all the way to Sierra Leone. Now let's go to Grand Bassa County. We had a hospital that was built in 1951. A brand new hospital, 150 bed is being built in Grand Bassa County. The ground was broken. You saw that. You saw the proposal on the table yesterday from the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs that he is there. The government is proposing there is no need to renovate the JFK hospital because it will cost too much and it's not worth it. Build a brand new JFK that encompasses everything that a modern hospital has. He also mentioned about the $20 million Redemption Hospital being built. These are all major undertakings. You look at the RIA highway that is being built. These are things that will come to fruition in 2023. Now you tell me who in the world is going to say all of these things that are happening and bound to happen, we will let them forego because in Liberia we know presidents do not like to continue other presidents' projects. So we will allow the Rawafi Highway to remain as is. We will allow everything because we don't want George Weah. I think Liberians are rational, and I think they will re-elect George Weah by a landslide.
Thank you. Mr. Tulay.
Weah is very beatable, all right? Because I told Mr. Gayman the last time, I said, Mr. Gayman, the execution of the signing and of the execution of capital projects do not really translate to the lives of the people. It doesn't mean you have sound policy. It only means that you're seeing projects that you can sign because the kickbacks are high. All right. As much as they will be putting infrastructure on the ground, it doesn't mean that the foremost in your mind is the improving the material well-being of your people. That is not what is foremost in your mind. What is foremost in your mind is your benefit, because when you sign these capital projects, you have kickbacks, they can be inflated, the amounts can be inflated, and that's a way for people to steal. What will make him unbeatable is not the implementation of capital projects, but it is improving the material well-being of the people through economic growth, through the betterment of healthcare, through proper education, and through investment in agriculture. Those are the areas that are tangibles that people can really relate to. Because guess what? George Weah have been implementing some of these projects, and then he lost CDC lost in Bapolo, the very Bapolo you talk about, the loss to Boakai. In Montserrat County, they lost to Dillon twice, despite the signing of all these capital projects. If the lives of the people are improved upon, if the people have access to good food, drinking water, electricity, in a way, not through politicking, but real properly planned, executed infrastructure projects that the people lives, and then looking at economic investment in agriculture, investment in education, investment in health, and the lives of the people can improve. Like Monrovia, for instance, we have been president for 4 years now, if you look at it. And we don't even have a functional fire service in Monrovia. Even if you have the fire trucks, where would they get water from? They have to go to the river, the Dew River that is polluted, to get water from there to come and spray on houses that are burning, that will be burnt in 30 minutes. Just think about it. Monrovia doesn't have running water right now as we are talking. So I don't think Bia is electable. He's very beatable in 2023.
Thank you. Mr. Gayman. My question is, what you listed there, how does that translate into, improving the material well-being of the Liberian people that will make them give a second term? You're talking material project. What is the history of President building and then being re-elected?
Okay, excellent. In my line of work, I'm talking about experience, and I'm going to give you two examples. When I was vice president of the Chamber of Commerce, it's in Lucy County, I served on a committee to steal other corporations from other states, like New York and Seattle, IBM and all of those places, Microsoft, and bring them to Florida. Whenever we go to make our pitch, there are three questions that have confronted me every time. One is public utilities, road, light, current, those kinds of stuff. The second is education, public school. And three, the workforce. Now here we are talking about development, attracting major corporations to come to Liberia. If you do not have roads, if you cannot connect from Benjamin to Bassa, Benjamin does not have the ocean like Grand Bassa County has or River G has. If the roads are good, we can leave Benjamin and go to Bassa, drop our rice, cassava, and all of that, and pick up fish, everything we want, and go back within the same day. The second example would be 1956. The Dry Eisenhower administration instituted the highway. He promised the American folks, he said, if we connect the United States, we will become the superpower of the world because the country will not. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Gayman. You gave United States example, so I don't know. But let's go to this.
You have to get United States example because
I thought you were going to say, President, we have built this, and then he won.
No. The problem here is predicated on best practice.
Let's move on. Mr. Tulay, what you are saying is the only person that can beat the CPP is the CPP itself.
Honestly, at this time, the only person that can beat the CPP is the CPP itself. There are people within the CPP that hold this that if between the two, either of them can beat George Weah in terms of Cummings, in terms of Joseph Boakai. I tend to agree with them. The only difference is the issue of regional politics will play in the Cummings case. There will be people who will say there is no need to change from George Weah to Cummings because they both come from the same southeastern region. And George Weah have packed almost all the favorable or executive position with people from the southeastern region. So that argument could come into play. That's the only difference. But Cummings, I have confidence in Cummings as an individual. I believe he can implement policies and do well for Liberia. The same with Joseph Boakai. So,
Mr. Tulay,
yeah,
there will be a primary in the CPP. If you don't believe it, then take it as a possibility. And so with that, let me give you this question. Right now, we see Benny Nayire and the ALP in Boakai's corner. Your party, the Liberty Party, from what I see, is pretty much in Cummings' corner. We see him. We see Cummings working with Liberty, and then Ellen Johnson Sirleaf also in the mix. We know that the madam the last time dealt a blow to Joseph Imam Boakai. She's going to do it again because she met Dillon, she met Yamley. They are in the Liberty Party. Hassan Belete is her political godson. What I'm telling you is that she will take some folks from the Unity Party that are loyal to her. So this primary that will be possible, what make you think Cummings is not going to win it? And what make you think Boakai is going to win it? And how is Boakai going to win it?
For the folks in Liberty Party that are talking to Madam Sirleaf right now, they do not represent the full will of the people of the Liberty Party. I said, like I answered Dennis's previous question regarding the issue of primary and the will of the people. They do not. They are policy makers. They are the leaders. I agree. I don't see Dillon, for instance, supporting Alexander Cummings over Joseph Boakai, even though he may have 100 tete-a-tete with Madam Sirleaf. I don't see it. For the political leader of Liberty Party, I don't know where she is. If she is, I have not been able to really gauge her. Okay. I know her on a personal level, the way you and I talk. I know her very, very well. I know her personally. But I don't know where she stands politically, realistically speaking. And I think she can go anyway. But
she's here's the thing, Tulay. Musa Belete supported her when she was running. Musa Belete also supported Dillon. Belete gave these two then candidates for senatorial position in their respective counties money to run. And that is how he landed the seat as chairman, talking about, chairman for Liberty Party. This guy is in there, and Madam Sirleaf is in the mix.
Right.
Yeah. Where will Joseph Imam Boakai get the money from? Should these parties go to this primary, and then that will be based on delegates? Does Boakai have the money?
You raise a very good
point. Delegates to win them on his side?
You raise a very good point. But I am saying to you that the overwhelming majority of people within the CPP support the candidacy of Joseph Boakai as opposed to that of Ellis Cummings. Yeah. If you were to bring the CPP people together today, everyone that could put their hand on and say, I support the CPP, and you ask them between these two, who will you vote for? Who will you support to become the standard bearer? I'm saying to you today that the overwhelming majority of people within the CPP will support a candidacy of Joseph Yuma, Joseph Yuma Boakai. That is what I know.
Thank you. All right, and I tend to kind of reason with what you're saying, because the Unity Party is stronger, is older, and should be having even the coronation, what I call the coronation of Joseph Boakai. I said it way back. The same Dillon, who is maybe talking to Ellen, and we don't even know where Ellen going to go, because they call her the political Wani Boto instead of Maradona. I like to say Wani Boto. We don't know where she's going to turn, right? But here's the thing. The same Dillon you're talking about was also sitting at the feet of Joseph Boakai. So I'm not sure where the Liberty Party is leaning when it comes to the primary. But let me go to Mr. Gayman. Mr. Gayman, which of the combination, I know you said none of them will defeat President Weah, but which of the combination you think you should be worried about or a little more concerned about most? Is it with Cummings heading the ticket or with Boakai heading the ticket? What do you think will give Mr. Weah a run for his money?
Honestly, I think Joseph Boakai will fare well for two reasons. Culturally, and this is cultural universal in Liberia, what I Basso crew, we tend to give our elders a nod because of wisdom, because of age, and because of respect. And he been around the corner a few times. Second, there's a strong possibility, and there's a strong segment, a huge segment of people in Liberia that believe that that Honorable Boakai was wrong, okay, and disrespected by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and he will get some sympathy votes. So when it comes to the two, honestly, I think the CDC will rather face Cummings. Cummings to me, is an easy pushover. You may want to put him in the southeast in Maryland County, but he has no base. He's a man of no home. He has no country. He has no alliances. He cannot claim Monserrato because Monserrato has been claimed already. He cannot even claim Maryland County. When they ask him, he says he does not believe in base politics. He believes in a little here and there, and then at the end, he will rise to the top. With that concept, I doubt that he can put up a strong fight. So with Lofa County strongly behind Honorable Joseph Boakai and the strong roots of the immediate past leadership, I think the Unity Party has a stronger and better chance of putting up a fight, maybe a little scratch, but not to fight or win anything. Not that it will even come to that. But he will try to claw his way out of his son, but nothing. But yes, he would be the guy that will put him to sleep again as usual. I like what he said. He was a park card. We like that. We love that analogy. We keep him parked. We keep him parked.
Mr. Tulay, I think you and Gayman had the agreement somewhere there.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we have an agreement there, but if you look at
Dennis,
if you look at our politics, all right, he mentioned something about Mr. Cummings not having a home. I remember having this conversation with the people from the CDC in 2011 when there was a move to bring a merger between CDC and Liberty Party. And I remember talking to several of them and asking them which one would be better for you guys to be the party, the second party in the arrangement, and George Weah being vice president, or for you guys to sit on the sideline for another 6 years. It would be very, very good because Mr. Cummings, if he goes by his previous 2 records in terms of national elections, it should be something he can use to gauge his chances in the next election. What could be done? Like I said, a consensus, an agreement could bring about a framework. They could have a framework, a managing framework to say, yes, I will come into a coalition or an understanding and run as a standard bearer, but I will not be a ceremonial standard bearer. I will be central to decision making. I will be central to decision making. I will have, these are the responsibilities I must have. And if you agree, then there's no need. Everything is pro forma. So what we do, we sign a memorandum of understanding. This is what we are going to do. And I know the kind of person that Ambassador Boakai is. He will honor any agreement he is a part of. So as a result, Cummings will come into the government as vice president, but it will be almost like an executive vice president position where he has a lot to do, real vice presidency with real powers. Use that to establish himself so that when Boakai steps out of and then also have a referendum where we will reduce the tenures. And then when Boakai steps out of the picture, he will now become the stand-in standard bearer with the full weight of the government behind him, and then run again, and then win on his own merits, and then he can govern himself.
Tulay.
Thank you.
Tulay.
Well, your man wanted to say something. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I want us to bring in our comments very soon. So go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, your history about Liberty Party and CDC is completely irrelevant to the discussion. I mean, forgive me for saying that, but I don't see how it's relevant.
It's not.
But let me make that point.
Yeah.
Let me make that point, Tulay. Look, you're forgetting about what money will do. Now, you're one of those, I'm sure, not happy about what happened in the Liberty Party when Mr. Hassan Belete became the chairman. You know what happened? Money made it happen. So this primary, money will make it happen. One of the reasons why Josiah Yuman Boakai was dragged in last election, but he didn't have money. He's taking loans. I call him told him. Where is he going to get this money from to lobby with these hungry delegates that will be coming from these political parties?
You're still
to buy
guessing
them
that
over.
Madam Salif is going to throw her weight behind Cummings.
Let me learn. And you think because he's an old man, he talks soft, and this idea that everybody, majority of the people in the CPP prefers Boakai, it's completely, there's nothing you can base that on.
It's factual. It's factual.
Mr. Sieh, I disagree with that. I think
he knows it's factual. He knows it. I'm within the CPP. I can tell you, I have had conversations.
I don't know it to be factual.
No, it's factual. You see, you also said you established in your view the
answer my question about the issue of money playing a key role. Fact, a determining factor in the primary.
Money played the reason why the merger, the potential merger of Liberty Party to CDC did not hold in 2011 is because of the same cash violence you are talking about. All right, there are people who today are considering themselves stalwarts of the CDC. They were working with Amara Kone at the Ministry of Planning and Economic Affairs, collecting money. Hold on.
I don't like that your history, man. I don't like your history. Answer my question. Forget about that history.
Yeah, but just be patient. They were the same people collecting money at that very time to stop. So money has the ability to cause problems, I agree. But when it comes to being a solid candidate, Joseph Boakai is a solid candidate. On a national stage.
What the last survey you did that showed that Joseph Yuman Boakai is the guy most people in the collaboration prefer?
I don't have to do a survey, but I know who I speak with, and I know where they lean. Because the reason why I'm saying that Joseph Boakai just went against
based on feelings.
Hold on. Hold on. Joseph Boakai just went against George Weah and came second.
Right.
On the national stage.
Tulay, is a scientific poll right here. Is a scientific poll. Is a scientific poll.
No,
scientific.
No, it's not. It's not national.
Hold on.
Is your viewership?
Yeah, that's, and we can say most of them are in the diaspora, so we don't want to say it's 100%. But here's the thing: Mr. Cummings had the same money in the last election, and he did not win even a seat. So we can really base everything entirely on the war chest, the coming war chest. I think it still boils down to what CPP people are thinking. And if you ask me, there has been a call that Mr. Boakai cannot be vice president twice. So there has been views in the CPP that have been leaning towards Cummings. So I call it the coronation of Cummings, which is not fair. They have to be fair to Cummings to give him a primary. But I want to bring, because you were talking about base, that Cummings does not have a base. And Leo Johnson is saying, Madam Salif had no base, yet she won 2 terms. She could not even win Cape Mount. And I disagree with Leo because Salif was winning.
Of course.
But let's go to Jerome Gayman. Jerome, you
had the largest constituency, the women.
Yeah, the women.
The largest blocks of voters.
And you still had, people don't like to say it, but you still had American Liberian, which is also an ethnic group.
Another block again.
Overwhelmingly supporting President Saleh. You had also the elite class of
another
the
black
intelligentsia supporting Madame Salif.
All the workers in the United Nations at that time supported Madame Salif. That's the same block of the intelligentsia.
Even the diaspora, people say, well, that's the person the international community trusts. So diaspora people also supported. So, but I want to go.
We are talking the primaries here, gentlemen. We're not talking the general. We're talking about the primary in this case. That is based on delegates.
No, you're talking about Mr. Cummings doesn't have a base, and not having a base is a big problem.
Can you guys allow Big Brother to come in? Let me hear what he got when he quieted that he's about to cause problems. Yeah, let him come in.
Mr. Gayman prefer what people are charging you with now is you prefer a weak candidate to go against George Weah because you don't want it tough. That's why you want Joseph Boakai, because
Dennis, are you suggesting that there's a weak candidate in the CPP?
Yeah, Joseph Boakai, based on what he's reading.
Based on his feeling, that's the allegation against the CDC, that they want a weaker candidate to go against, and Cummings is more formidable according to what they are reading, and that's why they want to go against the one who said he was parked in the garage.
No, listen to this. Honestly, we would prefer Cummings. Okay, Cummings is the weakest link in the CPP. Cummings. First of all, let's say if Joseph Boakai decides to play all the cards within his deck, Joseph Honorable Boakai gets up, goes to Bapolu or go to Lofa County, and gets up and speaks to his folks in his native language and say, "This is who I am." George Weah gets up and go to Bassa, his mother's homeland, and speaks Bassa. He goes to Grand Cru and speaks Cru to his people and says, "This is who I am." You bring Mr. Cummings here. He has an interpreter. Cummings, every time he goes to Bassa, he has an interpreter. He goes to number 4, he has an interpreter. And I believe he goes to Grand Cru, he has an interpreter. He goes to Bapolu, I think he has an interpreter.
What about Maryland?
He goes to Maryland, he will have an interpreter. He doesn't speak River or Cru.
Why, if Joshua goes to Lofa, will he not have interpreter? If he goes to Kema, will he not have interpreter?
No. Let's just look at his home base. Forget about all the other counties.
We are looking at the home base here. We have to plan our roots. We have to tell the people who we are. This is all the deck we are talking about. In the United States, we say the guy plays the race card. Don't we say that? We say that. When the race is tough, you play every deck, every card within your deck. I can go to Bella Yala, according to the history that you just established, that Bella Yala was actually established by the Bassa people. So there are linkages there. I can go and say, I belong to the Poorer Society. My wife can say she belongs to this society, that society. We are all one, and we have a link. Cummings cannot say that in Maryland County. He cannot say that in Bassa County.
Why he can't say that in Maryland?
Why he cannot say that in Maryland? Because everybody in Maryland don't speak English.
Right. And Cummings has not been able to establish even his village. That people
in the past, hold on, guys. In the past 2 elections that Cummings took.
So does Cummings need a village to be elected president?
Yes.
Yes. Your people must back you. You must be able to win your county.
Even if there one person in the village, you need that person to win.
Yes.
You need your county. You must win your place. The place you come from must give you the first support before you can go out there to win.
Well, the last time we checked, Ambassador Boakai won his county and he didn't win.
But if
but at least he won his county.
That's correct. In the
What did I do for him?
In the United States, when the Democratic Party lost in 1988, Walter Mondale lost everywhere except Washington D.C. and Minnesota. Those were his home base. You can't lose those. Ronald Reagan won California. Go ahead.
You can dismiss having your base or some form of constituent.
That's correct.
Especially in the history of Liberia elections.
Are you suggesting Cummings does not have one at all?
None.
He haven't shown it. 2 election cycles, he haven't shown it.
Even
when I said he stepped out of the stage, he still didn't show that he had a particular group of people supporting him, even his own people.
That's Boakai and Cummings are the same. None of them have ever won anything in their life.
Till tomorrow, the people from Lofa County will vote for Joseph Boakai. Unequivocally.
That's correct.
How many votes Cummings got the last time?
I think he mean last.
All right, he won over 100,000 votes. That can be his base. Base that people.
No,
spread his base is.
So whether his people are scattered all over the place, that means he has a base. I don't think base is just basically geography.
I know you love
base,
but the
represents people.
You are saying so? In politics, we say you split in half.
Yeah, can I come in? Can I come in?
Hold on, gentlemen. Politics is local.
That's correct.
But go ahead, Tulay.
Okay. My point here regarding this conversation is this. I said it and I will say it again. A consensus is best. When it comes to popularity nationwide in Liberia, even though you can say Boakai was sleeping for 12 years, he said he was sleeping, he is more a recognizable political foe to George Weah than Cummings. The last election proved it, and the present constitution of the CPP proved it. Cummings is doing, hold on. Cummings is doing his best. He's really going out there trying to establish his independence, and his candidacy is good for him. But the truth is, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, except the long spoon politics play into this, like Anthony have been talking about, money coming to influence decisions of delegates, except that long coke spoon theory comes into play, Joseph Boakai will win. Even when you have a primary, he will beat Cummings. I'm telling you.
Thank you. Let's go through a few of our comments, and then we can get your response, because we are getting there with time. Lawrence Vakmana say, "You're not ashamed of calling Joseph Boakai name here. You dreaming." I don't know what that means. Quay Wesley, President Cummings' record really is impeccable, and with that, we must put him forward. Timothy, Nancy, Anthony Sieh, those are speculation. When you were talking about Ellen Sirleaf and then Lenin Limited Party, he said those are speculation.
There's no Anthony Sieh here. There's no Anthony Sieh here.
Boakai's age disadvantages UP and his team badly. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf still is a decider in Liberian politics. Romeo said, "So you already believe President George Weah is a walk in the park." And that's another thing we want to talk about too. But let me read more comments. Senior said, "These are the people we call educated people in Liberia. Sad."
Thank you.
Quay Wesley, "Speak, my dear sister. No one is stopping you. CPP will defeat Weah in the first round. Your life will be better under President Cummings' leadership." And President Cummings supporters
they are fired up.
Yahweh say, "Ha ha ha," and he keeps laughing and laughing. Emmanuel Sako say, "Yombly is going to contest for the CPP primary." Frederick Zebe say, "Cummings is next after Weah. Take it to the bank. No more unity party." I'm not sure whether Mr. Tulay got his poll sample from to assert that most CPP supporters will prefer Boakai. William Glade Sr. say, "Honorable William Glade Sr. watching, I will donate, and my friend's business partner, I'm making contact here." Okay, I'm not sure, but if that donation is meant for focus on Liberia, we say thank you very much. Andrew Dawson, so why he didn't win against Weah? We are not talking about all Liberian politics. So that's the question, Mr. Tulay. Joseph Boakai did not win the last time. What makes you think that he's going to do it this time?
There are many factors. One of the factors was George Weah was the elephant in the china shop, or the bull in the china shop, if you look at it from a proverbial perspective. Liberian people trusted George Weah. They felt that he would deliver, and nothing would dissuade them from having their wishes that George Weah will send to the presidency. George Weah sent it to the presidency. Within 3 years, they were done with him. They are done with him. 3 years, they are done with him. If the only reason why anyone could win Montserrat, and that you have across the bridge, you have elections, by-elections that you have to have, or second round or recounts and mango to ensure that the CDC back candidate wins the local election, is because the people have given up on the George Weah presidency. There's no way to put this. George Weah was popular because the people did not know who he really is.
Okay, so
they had to
so
for themselves.
Guess
what? Before you come in, even though he served for 2.5 years in the Senate plus, they still did not trust the fact that the man did not sponsor a single bill or hold even a single press conference as the key opposition leader and as a senator to address issues under Madam Salif government. He did not hold a single press conference to speak to issues nationally. They still decided that they needed to trust him because he had a good heart, he had a country at heart. Now we're seeing that the country at heart does not translate to improving the material well-being of the Liberian people. So they have given up on George Weah. I tell you today, if there's another election held down the road tomorrow in Montserrat County or other counties, and George Weah is the candidate, and the CPP put Joseph Boakai against George Weah, Boakai will beat Weah. Except they are able to mango and do all kinds of things with the electoral.
Oh, come on, don't do a Trump on us here.
Yeah.
All right, then it can work.
Let me read this comment before you come in. He said, Boakai has the baggage of the Salif curse and the 12 years of UPP, which Judge Tulay has repeatedly called a failure. If VP Boakai cannot convince his most trusted partner of 12 years in leadership to support him, what does that say?
Is it my question?
Yes.
Oh, what the truth about it is this. Boakai, everyone knew, because one of the reasons why I would give Boakai a consideration is because I knew the place he played, the role he played in Madam Salif's government. I knew when she messed up and created crisis, then she called him to come help her to settle issues, to mediate. He was just like a mediator in the government. I know. I'm not saying somebody told me. I have been to his office, sat across from him the way you and I are sitting on the screen across from each other and had conversations with him. All right, so I know, and I'm not saying it because I believe in disclaimers. I'm saying this to show you that I understand what happened to him in those years. What happened to him, the marginalization he endured in those years, the disrespect, the insults he endured from the people that Madam Salif had doing her biddings. I know firsthand. So I am not going to say, and to be honest with you, if you ask me, even though on the scale of 1 to 100, I would give Madam Salif a 65, it's even better than the George Weah government, which personally I gave only a 40% to.
Thank you. Joseph Emmanuel Sako said the CPP primary would not go to the highest, will go to the highest bidder. Money will be a huge factor. And Dolo, Gonlepa Dolo say, why always Southeastern want to always lead? Will the Southeastern factor be here? Okay, we hear this all the time. Oh, Southeastern. We never heard this, or I never heard this being so loud about Southeastern. So, Mr. Gayman, the primary going to the highest bidder and the Southeastern thing here, is it going to be something that works against Cummings?
Well, we are glad that they are making that assessment. They themselves are making that assessment. Now let's go to Mr. Boakai here when we talk about VAS, because remember the UN said within 12 years the Eli and Boakai government had $18.9 billion going through the country. Dr. Boakai retorted when he said, "We have ample opportunity and we squander." We're not. This is what he said. He said we squandered. So here you are. My brother is talking about the president or the position of vice president. He was marginalized. The power of persuasion. It is an asset in politics. If you don't have that, you are not a leadership material. If you cannot persuade people to see things your way, then you don't belong in leadership. If Joseph Boakai for 12 years could not persuade Ellen and those around her that
she was persuading George Weah to give him her opportunity.
Not only that, but he never protested as a man of character. I would have said, I am quitting, I am resigning because this does not go with my moral character. He never did. He enjoyed the opulence of a vice president with $2.1 million every year for 12 years. And now he wants to come back and say, feel sorry for me that he was victimized. No, Joseph Boakai is not a leadership material.
And here's the comment from Leo again. He's an affiliate here at Focus on Liberia. Why did Boakai not resign? Can we say he was aiding Madam Ellen or Madam Salih SSS? Then are you saying he bears no responsibility for a government he was a member of. I mean, he was number 2.
And to add to that, Randall Cummings say disrespect and mishandling, but he was still cashing those checks, huh? Poor excuse.
Oh yeah. He was cashing those checks for 12 years.
He represented. You see, the funniest thing today, this is so funny. I sat down just not thinking about it. For 12 years, I criticized Madam Sieh from 2006 till the time she left power. I criticized Madam Sieh. And today I'm talking about Joseph Boakai. The truth is, Liberia will lack leaders that have the ability to be transformation. They are very, very few and far between. Somebody asking the question why Joseph Boakai didn't resign. How many persons you know will resign the position of a vice president? That Joy Howard Press currently is vice president. She has been marginalized to the point of her life being threatened. Okay, and she still holds the position. Do you know what it is? How many persons you know? I don't care the circumstance and the situation, except the person is driven out of power. How many persons you know will leave the position of a vice president on the face of a disagreement over policy? How many persons you know?
I have seen a lot of people resigning from key positions they occupy because of policy disagreements. It does not have to necessarily be vice president is just a position that one holds. So let me learn, Tulay. Tulay. You know, because all you basically saying here is that no one has ever resigned as vice president. So it did not make sense for Joseph Boakai to have done so. That is plainly what you're saying. And think about it again. Think about it again. So there was the SSA, there was this corruption, there were mysterious deaths. This clean guy who knew everything was going wrong, even at his own admitted, we squandered all the resources. Our race car park, he was not useful, and he was just there for what? For what? What was he there for?
He represented his constituency in that
constituency
in that government, Lofa County. I know for a fact that many times he thought about.
You were representing Lofa County when you were parked. You were representing Lofa County when you were parked. How you park in the garage according to your own words, and then you say you're representing your people. You representing your people in the garage where you were parked.
That's not it. That's not it. You understand how government works. If you understand how government works, even if you are not a key decision maker, he was never. Let me tell you the truth. Mr. Gayman knows. Joseph Boakai was not part of Ellen's decision-making cycle. He wasn't. He wasn't on spot when she made key decisions.
So are you telling me that man was vice president representing Lofa? Can you imagine how
prosperous
that is? No, he was representing Lofa County.
No, you don't
as
understand.
Vice president,
you just to explain. Yeah, but let me tell you that.
All right.
You have your constituency. You have your people who support you, and your young men say you represent. You are there. Do not leave. And you
so he was Lofa County vice president. I mean,
how you act that you say you divorce of it? Judge Bia is investing everything he has, or appointing people from the southeast.
Let me go to our final comments. This comes from Yankwe Gayman Bowman, and this is, he said, Tulay, using your argument that we did nothing, show me or pinpoint one thing Boakai did in 42 years. The reason I put this up, hold on. The reason I put this up, and I want you to respond to that, is Bowman is a supporter of the ANC. And now he is.
I know him.
Even though this is primary politics.
Oh, I know of him.
He's going hard on Boakai. Is there one reason why you don't want this primary to continue? Because
I have seen. Let me tell you the truth. In this whole arrangement, CPP, the most animated and the most aggressive proponents of the political leader and his policies and his person are the ANC people. They believe they have to be on the attack. You see what I'm saying? I'm already seeing it. If they continue this way, they will fracture the CPP. They will weaken it when it comes to election. And trust me, when the center is broken, they can now hold things will fall apart.
Yeah,
So that is what I'm saying. And these are the people that are misleading Mr. Cummings. They are telling him the thing that stating in America and writing on Facebook translates to votes in Vonjama City. That's what they think.
But you should see
It
where they're
doesn't.
coming from. You should see where they're coming from,
Dennis,
right? Where
Tulay continue to miss the point here. We
I'm
are
not
talking
missing
about
the
a
point.
primary where delegates.
Hold on, let me finish. You should see that where the Cummings folks are coming from, right? Because from time to time they believe that Mr. Cummings has been a pushover. He has thrown other candidates under the bus, sacrificing them for his own political interest, so that finally he can be selected for the top CPP ticket.
Yeah.
So when he roasted the candidate in Cape Mount, the one in Nimba, and now it's time for him, and they are trying to push him over, so they are pushing back very hard. Don't you see where they're coming from?
I see where they come from, but guess what? Even you can push as hard as you want to push. The Liberian electorate is a very funny electorate.
I don't believe they're funny.
No, when I mean funny, I'm using a word. When I mean funny, you have to understand their psyche. You understand how the people think. They're not going to vote. I'm not saying Mr. Cummings is not electable, but what I'm saying is, how is he acceptable to the general Liberian electorate? Do they know him? Can they identify with him as opposed to that of Joseph Boakai? Even though the fact that Joseph Boakai primary constituency, we're talking about Maryland County as opposed to Lofa County, just his primary constituency of Loma, Bandi, Kisi, Madingo, Pele voters, just his primary constituency alone gives him an edge over Mr. Cummings. And it plays down because we still are very, very, very people with low literacy rate.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined us, this is On Point. We have Mr. Jerome Gayman and George Tulay, who are both co-hosts on this show. And you see Sieh and Dennis are here tonight for the first time combining on Point. And you think, we see that, gentlemen, please let's wrap this up and see where each of you, where you think your opponent was on point and not on point. Just tell me when, Gayman, tell me when Tulay was off point, and make your final point.
Well, thank you very much. Please, we want to remind our audience and our follower that next Sunday, the Honorable Daniel Sieh, former defense minister, is going to be our guest. And we're going to be discussing security and everything else that have to do. How to dig him out of his grave wherever he was, he will be out here. So get ready to engage our Honorable Sieh on issues from the past and present. But Mr. Tulay here, we can see he's passionate about Honorable Boakai, and it's understandable. For somebody that was defeated so soundly, that wound is still there, and he is waiting for a rematch. And we look forward to seeing that. He was on point when he said that Honorable Joseph Boakai has that name recognition, which you cannot buy. Name recognition is very, very important for Mr. Cummings to have a semblance of name recognition as to that of Honorable Boakai. He has to spend $1 billion, which he doesn't have, because you cannot condense time. This has been done over 50-year career. And we know him everywhere. You can say all you want to say about Dr. Boakai, but he is known. So name recognition is where I agree with my brother.
Dr. Boakai? What is the doctor thing with you? You calling him Dr. Boakai? Is he a doctor?
Well, he's not a doctor. I call him a doctor because he's somebody that we revere. He's our country doctor. He's our father. He's the uncle. He's all of that. But we disagree that at this point it's time for him to tutor and mentor someone like Tulay to step in the ring to take it from there, because he has the vibrancy to do so.
Mr.
Tulay, will you ever run for president
in Liberia?
Or run for anything?
I don't know.
Let's get your concluding statement. We have to close there.
I've had opportunities to run for local elections, but the kind of character I am, I don't think I can make it in the House. I think I'll be worse than Yeke. I think they will vote, and they will have 100% vote, including my own party people will vote to drive me away because I will light fire in the whole place. The kind of person I am, so I can't stand.
They kind of fire Boakai couldn't lie, right? That's the one you're gonna like.
You see, everyone have a nature. His nature is he's more of a diplomat. He's more of a diplomat. He's more of somebody who would say let's find consensus. I'm not the consensus type. I'm the firebrand. But anyways, thanks guys. I don't want a lot of things Gayman said. I agreed with, except for the fact that he wanted to say that because Boakai lost to makes him unelectable. I don't think that is the situation. I think we are for all his frailties and everything was his time in 2017 for the Liberian people to see him bare before them, so that they would know the kind of person he is, so that they would decide if this is the kind of leadership that they want or not. And they have shown to us in 2 senatorial elections in Montreal County that they are fed up with the RIA brand and they are done with it. So going into what we had discussed, I believe it was a very good discussion. I still believe, if you ask me, I still believe that there should be consensus, which I do not have any hope that is going to be achieved, because the people Mr. Cummings are listening to is listening to are people who are very, 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 very difficult, and they will not see reason to have a merger or to have an understanding, a memorandum of understanding where Cummings can go as an executive vice president, in the sense that he's not a vice president like Joel Howard or like Boakai was. He'll be a vice president with real executive powers and responsibilities that will be established from the very beginning, okay, so that he will have functionality. He will not be a packed vice president, so that he can have exposure to the people. He will be the representative of the pack, the two of them, to the people. He will deal with the Liberian people on a day-to-day basis. The president will be there to make sure that the policies they establish are executed, so that he can have electability the next time comes around, that he will not be somebody like Liberian say, but we did not see you. Why are you asking us to vote for you again? So that is how I see it, and I would just say as I see it. You don't have to agree with me, but I think if you sit down and think about it, you will know Cummings on his own will be very difficult to beat George Weah.
Thank you.
Dennis, you will be the last.
Yeah, before that,
Mr. Tulay and Mr. Gayman were on point when they said that Mr. Boakai had knee recognition. It's obvious. It's not because of anything he did. He was picked by a woman to be vice president and was packed. But that knee recognition, is it favorable? No, it's not. He was packed. He was crying like a baby, complaining that they squander opportunity. So that name recognition, anybody who serves a vice president will have that same name recognition for doing nothing. Like Boakai did nothing and you gain that name recognition. Harry Monroe, vice president, people who were around still remember him. Joel Howard Taylor is vice president. She has that name recognition because of that, even though she was first lady then, so she had that, but vice president also added. So I'm saying anybody who serves as vice president will have that name recognition, but how favorable that is, and it's a manner for Joseph Yaman Boakai. I'm arguing that the primary that will be done on the basis of delegates. Cummings has money, he's going to use that money. Chances are that he's going to win. If the primary was going to be open where all the members of the CPP will vote county by county, Boakai will win because of what I consider to say a political, kind of sympathy. He won because he did not win the election, and he had no bleeding at the time. So who will win the primary? If it go by delegates, Cummings has a better shot compared to Honorable Boakai. Whoever wins, let them come together and fee a ticket. They may have a better shot at President Weah. That is my closing. Thank you.
Thank you. Tomorrow, same time, 6 o'clock, at same time, we're going to have Honorable Akaros Moses Gray right here on Focus on Liberia. He's going to be sitting down with me, and we're going to have a very healthy discussion on national issues. Well, both of you have spoken well. This is On Point, my first time being on Point, but I believe that you have 4 parties in the primary, And if you go by the delegate system, where 4 parties, each of them, even though ALP of URE may not have all the partisan, but if he's supposed to select 100 delegates, he's going to find them. And all those 100 delegates from the way he has positioned himself already will be for Boakai. So you have Unity Party voting for Boakai. You have the, say, 100 delegates from Liberty, from ALP also voting for Boakai. That's 200. So you have Liberty Party, and I don't believe no matter how much money Cummings is going to use, he may get 100% of ANC delegates, but I do not believe that he's going to get 100% of the LP delegate. Even if he did, it means they are split in the middle, right? And so where the extra vote going to come from? With Joe Boakai being a VP before, being an elder, I think the sympathy will be there and say, okay, let's Boakai, maybe 2 or 3 persons will cross over from Liberty Party to put him forward as the candidate. So I see through a primary, I believe Joe Boakai is going to emerge as the standard bearer of the CPP. And with the politics in Liberia, I think he's going to have a better shot. I personally do not prefer, I prefer personally a third candidate, somebody from somewhere, not CPP, not CDC, but the reality is it's going to be between CPP and CDC, and Joe Boakai will be the one representing the seat. From my political crystal ball, that's what I see. But I want to thank you, gentlemen, for expressing your view. We want to thank our audience for staying here with us on Point. Join us every Sunday, 4 o'clock for Point, where you have the unabashed, unapologetic sedition, showing the pro cup. Even if there's nothing in it, he keeps drinking it. There's nothing there. Yeah, you see, there's nothing in that cup, and there's nothing for our people from the pro cup, and he keeps doing that. And we want to say on Liberty Party now.
Dennis, can I say something? Dennis,
let me end, because Liberty Party is now struggling for identity. You see with the ability issue and with the flip flop of Mr. DeLong, and then we see the lukewarmness coming from the standard bearer or the political leader Yombli Kanga. Unity Party is Liberty Party is losing its identity, and I see my man Josh Tulay is struggling how to keep this Humpty Dumpty together. Make your last point, Mr. Tulay.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to say something regarding this. I remember Bernie Sanders going into the primary against Hillary Clinton, and then the next time going against Joe Biden, and a lot of his followers helped to make Donald Trump president in 2016. I'm saying to the Cummings people, if we go to a primary and Cummings loses, I'm hearing them saying now, Yanko is saying that there's no, I'm going to take it for him that Cummings can never be vice president to any, then that means you really don't love Liberia, because if you love Liberia.
No, you can say that.
Okay, no, I would say, my view to him is he really doesn't love Liberia, because if he loved Liberia, he would know that Cummings will have a lot to contribute as an executive vice president, not just as a ceremonial vice president, but as a vice president with real powers and real responsibilities to help to shape Liberia.
Mr. Ja, real quick.
Yeah, I have to be fair. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Dr. Lumumba is doing his U.S. tour starting July the 7th, and I was selected to be one of his hosts. I'm working something out with him to appear on Focus on Liberia if it all works out, because he will be my guest on the 18th. He will be speaking in West Palm Beach, and I will be his host. So by God's grace, if everything falls in place, we have to make time to talk to Dr. Lumumba.
Sure. Thank you so much. I want to thank all of you for coming. Thanks to our audience. Keep watching Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. There's a pool going on between Boakai, Cummings, and DeLong. Please participate in that pool, and let's see where things are. It is here, and we want both Cummings and Boakai right here on Focus on Liberia to debate the issue. Until then, we're going to end with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." We are just making the analysis. Whether you are Cummings supporter, Boakai supporter, CDC supporter, whoever you are, we are all Liberians, and Liberia is our only country let's keep it moving. Good night, folks, and God bless.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home.